Hi friends, how are you doing? Are you feeling creative? If so, let me know in the comments what you are currently creating because I'd love to know. But if not, that's okay. Creativity isn't a constant flow. It's changeable and needs fueling. Sometimes filling up the creativity tank will look like learning a new thing or reorganising an art space. Other times it looks like what I'm doing today, which is quietly noodling about having a go at making a collage with no clear goal except getting away from a screen and making something with my hands. Do you want to join? So for this session, I'm rifling through a bunch of papers that I made last year using trace monotype printmaking. I figure let's cut some of them up and try and make a collage. They're all in the yellowy orangey spectrum, so I do realise this collage probably won't be as dynamic as I'd like in terms of contrast. But I'm just going to work with what I've got and see what I can wrangle, which could very much be a motto of my making style. Despite the lack of colour variation, there is quite a bit of texture variation, so I'm hoping that I can use that to my advantage. In a vague nod to this colour theme, I found a reference photo of a giraffe, which I'm thinking might work. Maybe? Let's get a quick sketch down to get familiar with the shapes in the head and a general idea of how this might fit on the page. Right. For some reason, I always go large on the first try, and this head feels so big. It's staring at me too hard. Okay, scrap that. I sketched a smaller version off camera and now we can get on with the collaging. Hurrah! Cue the first of multiple long-winded moments of me staring at paper textures, wondering if it's the best one to use. At some point you just have to pick one and have a go and consequences be pooped! Whenever you see me cutting and ripping stuff up like this, just remember that in my head I am experiencing a cluster of colliding thoughts. In one very same moment, I'll be thinking, I don't want to cut it. What if I want to use it for something else? What if this is wasting it? I like this texture and I'm ruining this thing that I made. And I'm cutting it up. This is so pleasing. I love this tearing texture. I feel so liberated from caring about this piece of paper. Destruction is in me. It's a roller coaster in here. The takeaway is that art and creative processes, however simple, don't necessarily come naturally. They're a push and pull, an experiment, a thrill and a risk, and you can't always be sure that the results will be what you intended. But they will always be worth trying because you'll learn something about your own creative style from doing them. Recently, I've been spending a lot of time on the computer as I've been editing and publishing my latest Skillshare class. And as my day job is also computer-based, I can clock up a lot of sedentary screen time. So whenever laptop time takes over, my fingers simply miss making. There is something about the physicality of creating with my hands that is so soothing and satisfying. By the way, if you're wondering what those yellowy blobs are that I've stuck around Giraffe's head, they might be clouds? I don't know really. I felt like I needed some kind of background element, but I also had zero ideas about what that should be, so I ended up with yellow blobs. I'm not sad about them, and I'm not happy about them. I'm just pleasantly ambiguous and letting them just happen. I would have liked to have used a glue stick for all of this, but it turns out the ones I had are all dried up. So instead I turned to PVA. It was all a bit more blobby and gooey, but it did the job. I really enjoyed the red texture that I used for the head, though it did feel a bit busy at times. I felt like I needed to differentiate the areas of the face somehow, so I tried layering various other textures on top. I was also pleased that I remembered to rip the edges of some pieces, as I can sometimes forget that that's a thing. Ripped edges often look softer, and I thought they worked well in kind of blending but not really on the face. Whenever I could, I tried to use the shapes and lines found in the textures. I found some loopy lines in this one yellow print, which suited the nostrils pretty well. I had to rifle through some old painted papers and found a small bit of purpliness to cut up for the eyes. It was at this stage that things started to get fiddly. I got a bit zoomed in and started cutting up teeny shards of paper to stick on the face. I was trying to create the wrinkly facial lines I could see on the reference, but I think I got some of the directions wrong. It looks a bit odd, but hey ho! At this point, I'm thinking I can't do much more collage-wise, as it is feeling a bit too buzzy with all these textures mingling. So I figure maybe I can use marker pens and create a bit more contrast. And I mean, I don't know, I feel like when I started doing this, I kind of lost my way a bit. I was hoping to use the pens to add more definition, but I think I just ended up making the face even more busy. I got especially worried when I added the black pen, as that felt really like I had gone too far. I felt like I had created a weird, liney creature that was giving off a vibe. Not a good vibe, a confused vibe. And so, as a last effort, I pulled out a white paint pen and plopped some of that on there. I think it helped a bit. Did it? What do you think? At what point do you think I should have stopped with this art session? Were the markers a step too far, or did they help? Should I have used something like colouring pencils instead of pens? Anywho, thanks so much for hanging out with me today and watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the like button a tap, as it really helps to support this channel. And if you fancy meeting back here in the future for more creative noodlings, the subscribe button is never far away. Stay curious, keep making happy, and I'll see you next time.